So, hi everyone, and welcome to this session, the first one for the Great Himalayan Ultra. I hope everybody's looking forward to the race, to being in Leh, and cycling in Ladakh is something wonderful. I hope everybody's looking forward to it. I know I've been sharing some photos and videos of the terrain. Hi, Ajay. So, Ajay,
Hi Divya,
hi. I believe you're crewing for Mustafa this.
Mustafa. Yes, me, Nitin is coming and Kapil.
Okay, super. Very good.
Thanks for the entertainment.
Shankara, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. See you soon in Ladakh. We'll carry
Yes.
on.
See you soon.
Yeah. So these are some of the people who were there at the at the previous event. So, uh, okay, Vinit says he's traveling from Delhi to Junjunu, so he may not, he may be in and out. Anyway, like I said, I'll share the recording afterwards. So, okay, I'll just start, briefly go over the overview of the race. We have three categories that are taking place this time. The 600-kilometer solo RQ, which is supported with crew members, and there's one relay team of two people in that. And then we have the 444-kilometer self-supported. So, of course, as everybody knows, with this race, we don't take any chances as far as acclimatization goes. Everybody has to be there reporting as per our schedule that we have given to you. The only relaxation we have given for a couple of people to report a day or two later is for those who are driving to Ladakh. Because if you fly in, it's a real sudden shock to the system to fly into that high altitude. But if you're driving over, then you're going to be driving over passes which are actually higher than Leh. So some sort of acclimatization is going to have started as you start driving into the mountains, and the acclimatization is more gradual. So for a couple of people who are driving in, we are allowing a day or two of relaxation. But other than that, the acclimatization is a very, very important stage. I hope most of you watched the live Instagram video that we did with Kabir a couple of weeks back. It's there on our Instagram. I will share the link again if you want. He's given some great tips. So as far as the acclimatization period goes, just use it very wisely. Use it in a good way to prepare yourself for the race. The acclimatization period is not a time for you all to do any training. You'll see that yourself, that that's not, it's not going to be possible for you to do anything to up your training while you're there. What will happen as soon as you reach, for those of you who have not been there, is that you will have the first 2-3 days, you're going to be unable to do much. So just use that time to rest, eat well, drink well. I'll share a few articles on acclimatization do's and don'ts with y'all. Don't push your body to do anything. You can then, once you're feeling ready for it, you can take your bike out for a small spin on the second or third day. Use the first couple of days to just put your gear together, walk around and explore the place. And then the same goes for when the crew comes. After your acclimatization period is over, on the Thursday before the race, Thursday, what date is that, Rutvik? Sorry, I'll just open the handbook in front of me. Here, I'll just go over the itinerary briefly. We'll be doing all your racer, the inspections of your vehicles, your equipment, and any other mandatory requirements which Rutvik will go over with you. This will all be conducted on the 25th of August. And that will end with the briefing there. So that's taking place on Thursday. Friday is a day off for everybody. Just take it easy on Friday. And Saturday early morning is the race flag off. Venue and all the flag off details have been given. The handbook, which was emailed to you, is going to be updated and sent, resent to you. Now I'll just take everybody through the race route. Yeah. Just let me know if you're able to see it. Rutvik, can you just unmute and let me know if you're able to see?
Yep.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll go full screen. All right. So I'll go over the route for both the 600-kilometer and 444. There are small minor differences. So this year we will be starting the race from Leh Gate. Leh Gate is just below Leh Market. On the road, it's a junction from where the road to Khardungla goes. You'll probably familiarize with it while you're over there during your acclimatization period. So that's Leh Gate. We'll start off from there. It's a steep downhill from Leh Gate that goes here. You'll come to a circle over here, which, one moment. Yeah. At this junction, the racers for the RAM, RQ and relay race will turn left and go towards Thikse. So this is an extra 40 kilometers that the RQ 600K will be doing. You'll go to Thikse over here. At Thikse Monastery, you have to turn inside. There's a parking lot over there, which from where people park and then walk up to Thikse Monastery. So you turn inside that. The control point is in there, and then you turn around and head back to Leh to that same circle. Yeah. Meanwhile, the 444 kilometer self-supported racers will skip this left turn and just continue straight towards the airport. This over here is the airport. Don't worry too much about the navigation, because once you're there and while you're acclimatizing, you'll be able to familiarize with all of this. So, so the 444 kilometers will just go straight over here past the airport. The 600K will take their U-turn, come back to this junction, and then also be on the same route. And then the route is the same for both, all the way till Kargil. There's pretty much no navigation that you need to worry about between this point and Kargil. It's like literally there's just one option. You would be hard pressed to do anything that would take you off the route. Just to give you a few, pointers, you'll be looking at your route book in detail, of course. You go past the airport out here and just follow where the elevation out here is, the elevation profile. You go past Fay, and then after Gurdwara Patthar Sahib, just remember, so you'll come to this so this section is a pretty, it's a broad valley. You'll enjoy this section a lot. Then you come to Gurdwara Patthar Sahib, after which the road, within about another 5 kilometers or so, the road starts taking a sudden downhill after passing Magnetic Hill. And this section here is a downhill where you will be able to see the Sangam viewpoint from here. And it's a sharp turning, road out there. After that, from Nimu, Pasgo, the road is along the, part of it is along the Indus. After this point, after Saspol, you'll be along, it's a beautiful stretch. There's a climb over here in the middle. After that, you're along the Indus Valley for a long stretch till Khalse. A little beyond Khalse, Khalsi. From beyond over here is where you take a turn off and you leave the Indus River to start climbing up. And this route now, starts becoming a little dramatic, going through the mountains, heading towards Lamayuru. Now, for the 600K, Thikse is your first control point. And for everybody, Lamayuru is your next control point. And Lamayuru is also a hard cutoff. I'll come to the details about your cutoffs and your control points in a bit. From Lamayuru, the road just continues climbing until you reach Fotula top. You only covered this much part of the race so far, but this is Fotula top. From Fotula top, you have a descent and then a small climb again, which goes up to Namikla. Yeah. And after Namikla, and just remember one thing, these descents over here are very exposed. If you have a wind and you're on the left-hand side of the road, or rather the valley is on the left-hand side from where you're cycling. So you're on that side, you're on the valley side of the hill, of the mountain, not hill. And so both these descents over here have to be, respected and done with caution. Also, don't cycle on the wrong side of the road, especially on a descent, because these are curving mountain roads and you never know when you'll have a vehicle coming from the opposite side. So just though there's not too much traffic on these roads compared to any of the roads that we are on, but the thing is that there could suddenly be something. So once you've crossed Namikla, it's a gradual, like there's a sudden descent, and then it turns into a gradual descent all the way till Kargil. So here, this is Namikla top, your descent all the way till Kargil. Just keep one thing in mind, the Kargil control point for everyone. So the 444 kilometer racers will stop. Sorry. Yeah. The 444 kilometer racers will stop at Kargil, and the 600K racers have to come in to the control point and then head out back to continue towards Drass. So this is the spot. So just look, these hairpins out here are sharp downhill hairpins heading towards Kargil. By the time you're on these hairpin bends, you'll be able to see Kargil city and the river on your left, not city, town. And this turn here is a very sharp left turn. Though I think some of you couples crew will remember missing it. Couple missed it last
Yes, yes, yes. Divya, I was about to tell them because this is on the downhill and you tend to, because you're speeding down. So
Yeah.
just stay with the crew, listen to their instructions, and
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So.
So for the supported racers, yeah, just make sure that your car is just behind you, because it's a very sharp, fast downhill, and then suddenly you have a left turn, which is almost, it's a very tiny lane you can barely make out. So make sure that on your Garmin you have this spot properly marked. If you have two crew vehicles, it may be smart for one crew vehicle to go up ahead and just stop there and show the racers where to turn. So you literally have to come to a full stop and then turn left into this gully. It's a tiny lane. So, you really have to come to a full stop over there on a downhill. Supported racers also just mark this point on your Garmin's. So you know that you've gone wrong if you come to the bridge across this river. So if you come to this, the Suru River bridge, and then you know that you've got to climb back uphill. And there's no missing the control point. You have to come and check in on the control point. This is for the RQ and relay teams. Supported racers will, of course, stop over here. There's a hotel, the White Castle, which has been offering us accommodation since last year. So you can settle down over there for the night for the supported racers. The RQ and relay team will check in at the hotel and then continue to Drass. Yeah, now this route to Drass, I have to warn everyone. Kabir has also made it a point to warn everybody on the on our session. Even in our previous talks, we have warned it. So if you look at this, this is Kargil. And from Kargil to Drass and back, it looks like the tamest part of the route. It looks like this has got to be nothing that I have to worry about. But surprisingly, every single year, I find that this section really tires out the racers unbelievably. This section is, there's a lot of wind, it's cold, you've just done, these two massive passes and come back. So the going to Drass and back, one of the two directions, you're 100% going to get a headwind and a cold headwind, which is in the dark. So just keep that in mind, that this one is not to be, mentally you've got to be prepared that this section is going to be a real knocker for you. So from Kargil to Drass, the control point at Drass is at their tourism department, this point, right at the end. You're almost exiting Drass when you'll see a signboard on the left-hand side, which tells you that Drass is the second coldest inhabited place on the planet. That's where our control point officials will be. You turn around from there, head back to Kargil, come back to the hotel. And for the self-supported racers, you'll have a second flag off the next morning from the hotel. For the for the RQ and relay teams, you have a mandatory 3-hour halt in Kargil. Whatever time you check in on your way back, from that time, 3 hours later, your clock starts again. It is suggested that you be ready 5 minutes before your 3 o'clock starts and leave at exactly once your 3 hours ends. So depending on whatever time you reach in, make sure that you don't waste more than that 3 hours that you have. Everybody can settle down in there. Just be aware not to make too much noise if you're sharing the room or generally in the staircase, etc., because there'll be racers and crew members coming in and out and trying to get their rest before the second day's race. So after that, the second day's race, again, you start from the lowest point on this on the route, and from here you're now climbing up Namikla, and then with a small downhill all the way back up to Fotula. This one section of about, I think it's around 80 or 90 kilometers, is almost entirely uphill. Again, don't underestimate anything in these on this route. After that, your descent back down into this valley and straight back to Leh. When you return to Leh, there's just one thing that I'll show you, which is slightly different from the route that we did last year. This year, when you'll return to Leh, we're not taking the route through the market like we used to. So what we're going to do is we're going to avoid this. This is the market area of Leh, and earlier we used to go back through the market, but we're avoiding that this year. When you pass the airport, at this point, just as you're passing the airport, there's a small circle with a little left going almost parallel. So you take that, and that one goes past Zorawar Fort, Shanti Stupa, and circles around from behind to finish at Rover's Den. So this is another section that you can familiarize yourself with while you're acclimatizing. The crew and the racers can familiarize themselves with this route. And your finish point is in Rover's Den for everyone. Yeah. Okay, I've gone over the route. What I'm going to do now is, okay. So I'm going to hand over to Rutvik. So the plan for today is that I'm just covering everything related to the route. I'm sorry, I've finished covering that. Rutvik is going to take over. Sorry, I had to share with you, one moment, the control points. Just give me 1 second. I'll just start the sharing again. Yeah.
Do you want me to share it? It's right up on my screen.
Yeah, let me give you, yeah, you should be able to share it now. Hi, Kapil.
I think he might be traveling back from office.
Acha, okay. I saw him here, so I thought I'll. Kabir has also joined us. Hi, Kabir. Kabir is planning to race, kya?
Please come.
Okay, yeah. Right, so this is the control. This is for the 600K. Yeah, 600K, you know, it's about 18.5 kilometers to Thiksay. You turn around and then you're, I mean, I'm not going to really bother much about that cutoff or anything. That's a short, quick turnaround. At Lamayuru, we have a strict cutoff. So the cutoff at Lamayuru, Kargil, all the cutoffs actually are hard cutoffs. And the reason for this is that this race, this route is extreme. The exposure is extreme. This is the reason why we have the mandatory 3-hour break on this race, because we can't possibly imagine people being out and about on this road, wanting to just take a nap or anything. And the reason why we have a hard cutoff at Lamayuru is that if you haven't made it to Lamayuru by 3:30, you are going to be unable to finish that descent from Namikla to Kargil before dark. Those who are just borderline for, reaching there, just about managed to, I think a couple of the racers last year who were just on the edge managed to just about reach down from Namikla before it got dark. But anything beyond that, and you'll be doing it in the dark, and that's a dangerous section to be descending in the dark. So that's the reason for this cutoff. What happens at this cutoff if you don't make it is that we turn you around. For the self-supported, last time one of the racers had to be, he was out of time over there. So he was asked to stay over there, figure out his own accommodation, stay at the Lamayuru town, and then head back. You can cycle back on your own the next day, no issues. The next hard cutoff is at Kargil. If racers have not checked into Kargil on their way to Drass, this is for the 600K, by 9:30, they will be disqualified from the race. You can stop over there, you can rest for your 3 hours or till the next morning and cycle back to Leh if you want, but you won't be recognized as a race finisher. Those who reach Drass late must return to Kargil in the vehicle. There's no option for that. If you're disqualified there, your racer has to go back into the vehicle, be put in the vehicle and head back to Kargil. At Kargil, again, you can stay at the White Castle and then head back. After that, if the racer wants to cycle, that's fine. Otherwise, you can all travel back by vehicle itself. So again, there's a cutoff at Kargil also, because once you reach back at Kargil, then you take a 3-hour halt and then you restart. And if you're not going to be able to do that on time, you'll not be able to, finish the race and get over Fotula, etc. on time. Then the next cutoff again on the way back is at Lamayuru. But on the way back, we're not going to have hard cutoffs because now safety is not so much of a concern beyond Lamayuru. If you reach over there, you can still continue to cycle. You can qualify for the Inspire India timings. If we don't, we want to be able to exercise the right that if you are too late, we may ask you to stop even at some point during this and ask you to get into your vehicle and head back to Leh without finishing the course. But we'll take that call depending on the condition of people. Okay, Rutvik, can you put on the 444 kilometer? Yeah. So for the 444 kilometer, basically it stays the same hard cutoff. The sequence of the hard cutoffs is the same. Lamayuru is your cutoff. 1:30 in the afternoon. If you aren't there, you will be disqualified and asked to stay in Lamayuru, stay the night in Lamayuru. Depending on your condition, most likely people will not be in the condition to ride back to Leh also at that point. Then you have Kargil directly. Okay. I think, Rutvik, we need a little cleanup on the second line. On the line after Lamayuru. Anyway, sorry, we'll get to that later. Then at Kargil, again, you have a cutoff. If you arrive after the cutoff, you'll be disqualified from the race. You may cycle back the next morning, but it will not be within the race thing. And the reason for this again is that if you're not in Kargil by 8:30, it's dangerous to be riding out alone on your own on that road. So we may actually ask you to stop wherever you are, even if you haven't reached Kargil by 8:30 and you're somewhere on the route. officials may actually meet you over there and tell you to stop right there and not continue to Kargil. Then Kargil, you have your flag off the next day. We have another cutoff at Lamayuru again. From Lamayuru, we're not too worried from a safety point of view. So you may be permitted to continue, but you will not be able to make it to Leh within the cutoff time. So there again, the officials will take a call as to whether to, whether you're going to make it safely on your own or not, and decide whether you require to be told to get off the route and stop racing altogether. Yeah, and then 8:30 is the cutoff for the official finish. Late finish after that, we'll give a OTL finish if you're think. But like I said, once you've crossed that section, from Nemo and things, it's a fairly safe part of the route to be cycling back to Leh in the night also. Okay, I think I'm done with this. Rutvik, you can stop
Hello.
the screen share. Or sorry,
I'll just,
doing the rules. Right. Yeah. So I'll just mute myself.
I'll just quickly explain what these lines here are. What this cutoff between Lamayuru and Kargil basically is saying that at 6 p.m., if the officials don't think that you'll reach Kargil by 8:30, then we'll ask you to stop right there.
Right.
Same goes between Lamayuru and finish at 6 p.m. on Sunday. If we don't think that you're going to make it to Leh, that's when we'll stop you right there.
Yeah, it's the 6 p.m.
Yep.
Cutoff. Yeah, sorry, forgot about that one.
Yeah. So let's just quickly have a look at what the rules and regulations are, starting with the 600-kilometer RAM qualifier and the relay. So our rules are basically based on 4 guiding principles, which are safety of all persons involved. By all persons involved, we mean not just the racers, crew members, but also the officials and the public at large. So sometimes conditions might arise that officials might be at risk of staying outdoors beyond their fatigue levels. So that is also one of the concerns when we say that we want to make sure that everyone is safe. The second principle is that we want to run a race that is clean and healthy, and we want to offer a level playing field for all, which means that there is absolutely no tolerance towards cheating, towards gaining unfair advantage over other people. The third principle is that we want to run a race that meets with international standards. And the last is to protect the race integrity and reputation. It is fairly important for us to make sure that we look at all of these points equally, because we want to keep running this race over and over in the future. So it is quite important that we understand that we are racing in a community that wants to keep going on with its activities. What these guiding principles basically mean that even though that the rule book is quite exhaustive, there might arise certain situations which are not covered in this rule book for that matter. So the decisions that the race committee takes in such situations is going to be based directly on the guiding principles. So if we think that something is not safe, we're going to call it off. If we think that someone is gaining an unfair advantage, which might not be listed in the rules and regulations, we're going to call it off. As we've been discussing over the last 20 minutes, this is a high altitude race. So there are going to be certain rules, regulations that are different from other races, from other RAM qualifiers that we do for that matter. I'm just going to briefly touch some points and not the entire rule book here. But if you have any questions regarding any specific rule, any specific section, just hang around until we have the Q&A session and we can have a detailed chat about that. Let's quickly jump to drafting. Drafting is absolutely not allowed in any category of this race. You cannot draft other cyclists. You cannot draft motorized vehicles at any given time. Then we'll just have a look at what the nighttime routes are. So nighttime is between 6 p.m. and 7 a.m. During the nighttime, what we want is that racers be very visible. Riders must wear a reflective vest. They must have a front light, a back light, and during nighttime, the RQ racers and the relay racers must have their support vehicle directly following them at all times during nighttime. There is absolutely no relaxation of this rule. We will not allow anyone to go forward without having a support vehicle directly following them. There's an immediate penalty to this rule. We are not going to give out warnings. We're not going to give out reminders about nighttime. Make sure that you have your vehicle ready at 6 p.m. to be directly following you. If at 6 p.m. a vehicle is not behind you, you have to stop right there until the vehicle is there behind you. So sleep is quite important in this race, but bear in mind that sleeping at high altitudes, taking long sleep breaks at high altitudes might be very risky. So make sure that you are planning your rests in such a way that you're not taking breaks on high altitude passes and high mountain passes. There is an added clause to this that if race officials believe that the racers or crew members are not rested enough to be going forward on the route, the race officials will ask you to stop and rest sufficiently until they believe that it is safe for you to proceed. We have done this in the past. We make sure we are vigilant to ensure that you are safe on the route. It is safe for you to proceed, then only will allow you to proceed. It's quite clear about how the route is. We've talked about the checkpoints and the cutoffs. We'll head over to the mandatory requirements. There's one more thing that we need to discuss before we head up. We're going up into Ladakh, which is quite isolated from the rest of the country. Littering is absolutely unacceptable. Not just because we are up there, but because it's really difficult for resource to reach Ladakh. Make sure that you're not throwing away waste outside. Collect all of your waste, get it back to Leh, and dispose it off in a way that's acceptable. Again, there's direct penalties for littering. We absolutely do not support anything in the sort of littering and throwing away garbage anywhere. So there are 5 points to the mandatory pre-race requirements. The first one being the mandatory reporting. There is a schedule posted, emailed, and up on the website as well that tells you when you must report. Reporting is at Rover's Den Hostel in Leh. On your day of reporting, you could just go to Rover's Den, tell them that you're there to report for the mandatory reporting, and our officials at Rover's Den will be more than happy to help you out. The second is going to be a bike inspection. So there are certain things that must be present on the bike. You need a front light, a tail light. You need reflective tape stuck around on your bike at these given points. You need a helmet. You need a reflective vest, not just for the racers, but all the crew members as well. We will be providing you with number plates that need to go on your bike and stickers with your racer numbers that need to go on your helmets. So 0.6 and 7 is what you'll receive at the inspection venue. You need to comply with that. Your vehicles will be inspected. This, of course, is not it's not required and not applicable for self-supported racers, but you need to have a slow-moving triangle stuck up to the back of your car. Your registration plate needs to be visible. If you're putting up a bike rack on the back of your car, make sure that there's a flashing red light just for oncoming traffic to notice that there's going to be an overhang on the car. As with the bikes, points 4 and 5 require you to post certain signage on your cars, which will be provided at the inspection venue. There's also, lastly, the requirement of minimum crew members, again, not applicable for self-supported racers. Depending on what category of racing you are, there's a minimum crew requirement that you need to meet in order to be eligible to race. Lastly, there's a list of documents that you need to provide us before you are ready to race. The documents include identity proof of all the racers. You need to bring copies of all the documents that are listed here, except for 4 and 5. So you need to bring copies of IDs. These can be either Aadhaar cards, driving licenses, passports, anything that has a photo on it and is issued by the government of India. Same goes with crew members. You need to bring copies of their ID cards. All the crew members who are expecting to drive vehicles must mandatorily submit their driving license as an identity document. Many of you are going to be renting vehicles in Ladakh. Make sure that you bring in copies of the vehicle registration certificates and the vehicle insurance policy. Now we'll have to talk with the drivers of these vehicles to obtain these documents. Make sure that you have copies of these documents at hand. We do not have facilities to copy or make copies at the registration venue. So you'll have to bring them with you before you'll have to make copies before you come. Waiver and discharge forms for racers and crew members will be provided at the venue for you to pick up. And lastly, you need to provide copies of an accident policy. Divya will talk more about the insurance and accident policies that are required to be part of the event. There's some pictures for you to help how to put up signage on the cars. And there's also a self-help checklist for you to figure out if you're meeting all the requirements or not. That's pretty much it when it goes to the mandatory requirements. You already are in the WhatsApp group that has all the contact details of the team. If not, there's a list of phone numbers that you can reach to us at any time during the race. There's also primary healthcare system based in Ladakh, contact details of which are here. We'll also be sending out a link with a list of hospitals, primary healthcare centers, public health centers along the route. If you need medical assistance, it's best if at any time you feel that you need medical assistance, it's best that you use one of these facilities to get checked by a professional doctor before you proceed. That's pretty much it from my end.
Okay. I think is Greeshma here? Greeshma, do you want to? Can you address the logistics related to Leh, etc. right now or after? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Hi guys. So whoever is staying at Rover's Den, let me know, and whoever hasn't booked yet, and if you still want to stay here, let us know in advance because we have already blocked everything online, and we need to keep it blocked for you people first, whoever is participating in the race. Whoever is staying here, or if you're staying anywhere else, if you need taxis, like for crew car, let me know now in this week itself, because I'm going to shortlist few taxis, and then I'll give you the contact details, and then you talk to them directly. So you guys need to know that all these taxi drivers are not used to this kind of race. They're not used to drive so slowly on this particular road. They're used to do Drass in 1 day and back. So they lack patience. So you have to be very particular in telling them that what exactly you need. I'm going to shortlist them. I'm going to tell them how it goes, and I'll also brief them before I give you their contacts. But before finalizing them, you will have to talk to them. And about the race route and everything, there was a rainfall for 10-15 days from last few. I mean, it was raining till 2 days back. So right now the roads are not in good condition, but Army BRO is working on it. So by next week, we'll get an exact update on how the roads are going to be. So once I get that, I'll let you know. There are few patches where there was a landslide and mudslide and cloudburst also between Fotula and Namikla. So you'll have to be prepared for that. Mostly the roads will get prepared, I mean, in good condition by next week. And regarding your cycles, arranging it here and everything, there are no mechanics in Leh. So particularly for self-supported guys, you will have to see about your packing and everything when you get your cycles here. Because if you need something, you won't get it here. All your basic stuff, what you need, you'll have to carry it with you. There is no local help for particularly for road bikes here in Leh at all. So be prepared and you get your own stuff when you come here. What else? Do you want me to cover anything else?
Grishma Shankar. This COVID
Yeah, hi.
anything? Hi. COVID
No,
anything?
no,
Okay.
no.
Cool.
You just need your double dose certification. That too,
ठीक है.
mostly they won't check. There is
Okay.
no particular rule as such till now. If they start
Okay.
something, I'll let you know.
Okay.
They're not even checking the double dose certificate right now on airport. But I mean,
Okay.
that's the rule on
Yeah.
paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And no rules to enter Kargil also like last time.
Hmm.
So I don't think you'll need anything.
Got it.
Unless they change it in another 10-15 days.
Okay. So what we'll do is
Yeah.
we'll just we'll start with the Q&A now because Grishma has to attend to some work immediately after this. So what we'll do is questions related to logistics of anything, transportation, stay, anything else related to logistics and travel, just you can direct them to Grishma. Then after that, we'll take the question answers related to the race.
Yeah.
You can use the hand raising thingy. Yes. Okay.
Do we need a booster dose?
Right now, it's just double dose certification, and that too, they're not checking, as I told you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay. So if there's no more questions for Grishma, she is going to head back to her work. And we will see you.
I'll be there if needed, but yeah, I'll be on mute.
Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
then we'll all see you very shortly anyway.
Yeah. Yes. See you soon.
Thanks, Grishma. Okay. So now there's one topic that I had to cover, which was with the relay team. So maybe I'll take the relay team after the Q&A. We'll do the general Q&A, and then the relay team, if the others want to leave, they can leave, and I can just talk to the relay team and their crew directly. So any other questions and answers related to anything about the route, the rules? Nice. No questions?
It's not often that this happens.
I
but
know.
It seems that everyone is extremely well prepared.
I
It's
think
good to
now
see
that we've created a lot of material. Yes, Nandan.
Actually, we have been advised to keep oxygen cylinders with us as backup. So should we carry cylinders from here, or will there be some kind of facility where we can borrow or buy?
Yeah, so we have somebody who's been supporting our race, Ladakh Oxygen, and they provide us with the oxygen cylinders. So one for each unit, one for each of the supported racers.
Okay, ma'am.
And the officials card will also have it, and they'll show us how to use it, etc. So that will be provided to you at the briefing one day before the race.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
And just a couple of things about that. One is that the oxygen cylinders that we provide you they are like SOS. Their usage is SOS in the sense that if you're facing an emergency situation, you use it. Don't anticipate using the oxygen cylinder to be able to continue or to, improve your performance by taking some oxygen. So
Yeah,
that
sure.
doesn't work. And like Kabir has also mentioned in the sessions before, please don't take any kind of medication or oxygen or anything else during your acclimatization period, unless it's an emergency, obviously. But don't just take it from the perspective of wanting to acclimatize faster or anything else, because it will just throw your body off. What you want is for your body to learn how to deal with the thinner air over there and be able to perform during the race. So just keep that in mind for the oxygen cylinders and any other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other?
Excuse me, Nivi here.
Yes, Nivi.
Yeah, just I want to know those hospitals and the medical centers, they are having a service for 24/7, or are they aware that such race is going to happen? Because kya pata when we need that, they were not there available, or
So most medical centers that are listed there are 24/7 medical facilities, and they do have a casualty department in these centers. I'll also be sending out a link that is posted by the Ladakh Union Territory government website. That has a list to all the doctors who are posted in these hospitals, their phone numbers, dispensaries, nurses, everything, all the details are up there. So I'll send out the link shortly on the group also.
Okay, thank you, Rutvik.
Also,
yeah.
Also, there are army units on the road who also have got oxygen. So, in case of basic emergency, they also can help you. And before the race, we will be sending them one like message that there is a race happening on this route, and if you need something. So yeah, and we'll give those details like a day or two before the race, like during the briefing.
Yeah, I just wanted to know this one. Okay, thank you, Greeshma.
Just one thing to keep in mind is that don't have very great expectations out of the facilities there. The facilities on the list also are actually really small little units along the villages and in the small towns there. So just keep that in mind. And since
so just the emergency one, just emergency, whether we can get there.
Right.
Yeah, you can only get mostly like oxygen and basic dressing. There won't be like good doctors or anything on that. There's just one hospital in Ladakh which is based in Leh only, and even that doesn't have great facilities here.
Right.
So yeah, so be prepared for that.
And in fact, which is what brings me to the topic which I had to cover on insurance. So everybody, racers and the crew members, are required to cover themselves with insurance cover for a high altitude activity. I will send you the one or two people who have been providing this cover in the last couple of years to the racers. I'll send the link out to you all to get it. So for the racers, since you all are acclimatizing 1 week of, you can take cover for 1 week to 2 weeks before. Like it'll cover your travel, it'll cover the time that you are staying in Leh and the race itself. So for the racers can take that one, and for the crew members, you can take their other package. So all the details of the packages and etc., everything will be sent by the insurance companies themselves, the person who does it. The reason for this insurance, it's essential because if you need evacuation for any reason, it's an expensive affair. Evacuation can be arranged, but then it has to be paid for. So you'll need the insurance to cover that. Yeah. Varun, you had a question?
So, I'm just curious about the cooking facility or the kitchen at Rovers and as well as at Kargil, where we are going to stay.
Okay, yeah, I can see that question from Arvind also. Yeah, I'll let Greeshma answer that actually.
Yeah, so Roseden's kitchen is open for people uh, during the entire day. But if you want food here, if you want to order something, we also have an in-house cafe where we will be providing only home-cooked basic food. So if you want that, you can order here as well. Only during the dinner time and breakfast time, which is like normally rush hour, we won't be able to give you the full kitchen, but we can give you some small induction and basic kettle and all other things. At Kargil, you won't be able to cook, but you can order to them and they can provide you food, but you'll have to pre-order depending on what time you are reaching. But there is no cooking facility available at Kargil.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So yeah, at Kargil, just if you can anticipate what time your racer is reaching. If you have two cars, no problem. If there's one car with the racer, you can just call in ahead and tell them to keep it ready if your racer wants the food before continuing to Drass. For the self-supported, it's not an issue. Y'all can just check in there anyway. Y'all are getting a night's rest over there, so y'all can go there, settle down, have your dinner, etc. Yeah, let me just see. There's another question in the chat. Sonu is saying, ma'am, I have insurance with Air Force and you cannot get a copy of that. Okay. Okay, I'll just have that discussion with you separately then, Sonu, because yes, I
Okay,
think
ma'am.
last year also we had this gentleman, Lieutenant Colonel Srinivas, who also had his own cover. But then your crew will
Okay, ma'am.
require it. So we'll talk about that individually on one-on-one.
Noted, ma'am. Noted.
Any other questions? No, looks like we're all covered. Okay, anyway, if anyone has any queries in the couple of in the week following before we all start traveling, just ping any of us, me or Greeshma directly if you need something inlay. Okay, so we'll wrap this up and I'll just ask the relay team racers and their crew to stay on so that we can just discuss a little bit more in detail about relay team. Is that fine? Okay, thanks everybody. Good night and see you soon.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, good night. Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Hi, Nandan and Zamran. Zamran is I thought I saw him.
Yeah, I think he's there. He's on mute.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so y'all had actually asked a couple of questions when during the Insta Live with Kabir. So, and I said that I would answer in more detail over here. So one thing is, I think I sent you all some links to some of the material that we have done for Relay Team. There's a really good Zoom session that we had done with Team Access, which got into some details. So I hope
Yes.
you all had a chance to go through that.
Yes.
Huh?
We have, and the crew has also gone through those links and the
Okay.
content.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've already raced at DC
Yes, ma'am.
for
Yes.
the relay race, right? So basically, so just to ask you, during DC, what were your timings that you followed? The relay, your
During for the flats, we were doing the changeovers within 45 minutes to 1 hour. And while we were at the Pasarni Ghat section, we were shifting at around 15 minutes. And at Chola, we divided it amongst the two of us because the road was not great and we had different abilities and fatigue levels. So we divided it amongst both of us for longer durations. And then again, when we entered Goa, depending upon the terrain, we were shifting. But 1 hour was maximum, 15 minutes was the minimum duration.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think one thing for you to remember in on this route is that since it's so much climbing, on the climbing sections, you'll have to be doing quick switchovers. So maybe even 8 to 10 minute stops, because there's no point that the racer who's on the bike is pushing himself while there's somebody resting. You'll have to figure this out. I think you've been doing a lot of training in Calcutta. If you had an on the climbing sections, if you can see what's the optimal this thing. How many cars are you getting, by the way?
We plan to have 2 cars. One car will be bringing from Bhopal because 2 of our crew members are driving it, and rest of the crew and we are flying. And 1 car will be taken there because we need to have at least one of our own car to be comfortable and at ease. Or
No, it's a good idea because, like Greeshma said, the drivers over there do become uncomfortable with this whole format and thing. And we've tried to cultivate a group that knows what this is and is patient and calm, but it's really hard there because they're
they're not used to it. I think they are used
and
to
how
the
much they engage.
normal tourists.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have 2 cars, what is the plan going to be with the car movements? In the sense that, is it going to be one racer in each car, or are you both racers going to be in one car and the other car is doing the other errands and handoffs and things?
What we have planned is that we'll dedicate 1 car as a follow vehicle for day as well as night, but we'll be changing the follow vehicle also after every 4 hours, so that the driver also gets a chance to go slow and fast. So we'll divide it into shifts of 4 to 5 hours. And one will be a follow vehicle, which will always be behind the rider, and the other vehicle will keep jumping to and fro and take the non-riding rider ahead, arrange food, water, whatever is needed. So that's how we did at BC also. Yes.
So then
So anything.
your immediate follow vehicle should be the one that you're getting from home, and with that because the taxis over there don't they're supposed to be behind the wheel all the time by law. They're not supposed to give the wheel to anyone else. So that driver will be dedicated in that car, and they, rather than explain to them how to be in follow, you let that vehicle be your auxiliary vehicle.
Correct. We'll take care of that. And
so okay, so with the 1 car and the other second car on the long stretches, you can maybe plan on doing slightly shorter, switchovers, and also play to your strengths about who's better on the uphills, who's better on the downhills.
Correct.
Because the downhills is a great, if you're really someone who's fast on downhills, can really cover a lot of time.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Anything else?
Is it advisable, as we'll be reaching there on the 15th only, and our entire crew will be reaching there on the 20th? So is it advisable that we do an entire recce of the route with our car? I mean, should we do it just out of your experience, or should we not do it? I mean, will it help us?
The whole route?
These guys can at least go up Lamayuru, have a look at Fotula and come back.
Up to Fotula, Lamayuru, and back. Don't plan on going all the way down to Kargil, because that's like an almost overnight, and you'll get very fatigued with that. You'll get
Okay.
And
also, Nandan, as I told you, maybe you can ask your crew to come down from Srinagar side, so they know the route.
Correct. That's
and
what.
they'll have an idea.
Yeah, that's what we are planning. If there's no untoward incident, they'll definitely take the Srinagar Leh highway only. So
Yeah,
they'll cover the route then. Yeah, that's correct.
yeah.
So
It's actually better for acclimatization also, and
yes,
they'll
yes,
also get to know the route. And then it's better if you go till Fotula only and come back rather than
Yeah.
going all the
sure,
way to
sure,
Yeah.
sure. So we'll
And
consider that. We'll take care of that.
and
Um,
whenever you do that, you can just like if you want to cycle, just don't do great distances. Like
Yeah,
however distance
definitely,
cycling you're doing, you refer to what Kabir has suggested on his.
definitely.
uh, with the relay teams, I'd just like to add that the fitness of your crew is going to be equally important because making shifts every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, they are going to get mad fatigue. They're going to be as fatigued as you by the end of the race maybe. So
Yes,
make sure that you guys are resting well, you guys are eating well, drinking lots and lots of water. So hydration is extremely important in a high altitude event. So make sure that the crew is taking good care of themselves when they're in Leh also, because making changeovers that rapidly is going to consume. It's
Yeah.
going to be difficult for them.
yes.
So yeah, the crew members also take care of yourselves, take care of each other.
Crewing for
So
team
that's
is like much more tiring than doing for solo.
yeah.
Now that they've signed up for this, they can't, step back.
If you don't want us to say anything, tell us. Huh? We'll say, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
No, it's okay. So, one more doubt. Just like during the last Instagram live session, Kabir had said that you can plan that way that some of the crew members can stay back at Kargil, and the other crew member and one car can go up to Drass, take a U-turn, and come back. So that 3-hour time, I suppose, will start when the riding rider reaches Kargil.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sure.
after the racers have turned around and come back and checked back into Kargil on the way back, that's when your clock starts for the 3 hours. So the crew which is staying on will get a 5-hour break, or 4 or 5 hours extra, and they can be fully rested. So you can plan accordingly to make sure that the ones who go to Drass will have. And then the next morning, when you leave after 3 hours, you can leave with the fresh crew and let this the crew which went to Drass can stay a little later and then catch up with you all on the way to Fotula.
Sure, because the time will start when the rider will leave from Kargil.
The time will always be related to the racers.
Right. Okay. Got it. Anything else, Shubhen or Zamran, Varun? Anything if you want to discuss with ma'am, Rutvik, anyone?
So I have a doubt. जो कारगिल हम पहले पहुंचेंगे, so वहाँ पर racers को बोला है कि check in करना है. Then तभी वो qualify होंगे आगे के लिए, या फिर वो आते time, मतलब वो मेरे को थोड़ा सा clear नहीं है.
नहीं, so जाते वक्त ले से जब भी आप द्रास की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तभी आप कारगिल में सिर्फ रेसर्स को वहां पे चेक इन, मतलब कंट्रोल पॉइंट का चेक इन करना है. That is like the active racer has to come to Kargil and restart from there. They don't have to do any hotel checking in duties. If they don't want to stop, they don't have to stop. सिर्फ इतना ही करना है, कार्ड पे अपना टाइम लेना है and continue to Drass. फिर वापस आके सब लोग रुकेंगे.
Thank you.
ठीक है.
I think, yeah, we are sorted with everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the extra time and addressing to all our extra queries. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, see you all soon. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye, ma'am. Good night. Bye.
See you.
Thank you.